You talked about the potential from the Internet of Things, from connected machines, from machines and mobiles talking to each other. Just looking forward towards that, towards the use of big data, towards artificial intelligence, what are the opportunities that you see opening up?
Yeah, so if you take the first piece of Internet of Things, I think there's a lot of stuff talked about with Internet of Things. I think we look at it more as a direction of travel and how are we investing structurally, aren't we, around our services of being in the home and being a trusted partner of the consumer to step over their threshold and do things. As more products, whether it's CCTV, whether it's devices that you speak to, whether it's controlling your heating, more are moving to be more connected and more are moving to be wireless and therefore easier, not necessarily easy, but easier to install. I think the connected home will become more connected. But I do still think it's very much in the early stages of it, but I think it's gathering pace. And if you go back 5 years ago, the scale of the amount of people that would have been talking to something on a table, most people wouldn't have been able to imagine it.
And I think we're in a good place to stitch all those things together. So whether that's the physical skill to be able to physically put these things together, whether that's the supply of the products, whether that's the supply of the data from different providers, and giving customers the ultimate choice that they don't have to go and say, okay, I'm going to buy everything from one particular place, from one manufacturer, but actually I can buy airtime, I can bring that together with these products, and someone's going to help me to put that together. And we do think that we're in a good place to be able to help give the customer that one-stop solution to all of those needs.
And I think your topics then on machine learning and artificial intelligence, again, I think there's a huge amount of stuff being talked about in those areas. When we look at the actual practical application, so how do we help solve problems for a customer? I think there's a bit of a gap. And so one of the things that we are doing is we're investing, we're using our AO Innovation Lab and we're using our own brain power and experiences to say what problems can we solve. Customers might not realize their problems or friction points. And so one of those would be around something like personalization, for example. So how much data can we bring together and process in a live environment to help you better through the journey? The advice that we give a customer on that should be independent and should be specific to them and maybe tailored to their usage. So we might be able to bring some data in that because they've shopped with us before, we know their demographics or we know they've got kids or whatever it might be. How do we advise people to get the right product for them? Because actually in the first instance, the first thing anybody searches for is information, and it's information normally on a product. Price actually comes after once you've got the right product for you. And if your search tends to be price-led, you can quite often end up with the wrong products. And if you end up with the wrong product, that's an expensive mistake in our space. So I think there's loads of things we can do, but at the minute that we're in conceptual mode and we're testing theses on a very much a test and learn basis. And we're a bit back to, we have the internal joke, don't we, that if we can think it, then it's possible from an IT perspective, because IT is a very logical step of actions. And so let's start taking those steps and see what we can do. And then let's be brave enough to put it in front of customers. So that you can run all the focus groups you want in the world, but there's no substitute for trialing things with customers. So we want to do that, and if we get a few things wrong on that, we'll just be honest with customers, because I think they'll trust us to trial things in the right way. So I think it's a really exciting area, and particularly with the amount of data that our business collects. What we've got to do is we've got to build a bridge from the processing capability across to the data and then out to how we make that useful to the customer. What a really exciting area of possibility.